Bitcoin will eat a part of the pie that belongs to gold. There's only one real sound money, the absolute sound money, and that is Bitcoin. I recently sold my house. In total, the whole process, it takes me like half a year. So you have to prepare it, and you have to make the pitch, and negotiate on the price, people visiting the house. It's so much hustle to sell a house.
What you bought it for and what you did to sell it for?
It was roughly doubled in 6 years.
Exactly 5 years ago, on January 1st, 2025, was 45 Bitcoin. Now we are at 4.1 Bitcoin, which is declining more than 90%.
Started with 1 kilogram of gold at 8 Bitcoin in 2020, and now you only need 0.8 Bitcoin to buy 1 kilogram of gold.
It's the demonetization of real estate in Bitcoin and demonetization of gold to Bitcoin, like minus 94%. I think it couldn't be clearer. What role does gold play in the orange pilling? I remember for me, I didn't got the value of gold before Bitcoin, and with Bitcoin, I understood gold also. Like Bitcoin kind of led me to be more for gold actually than I was before.
Yeah, that is it's funny, interesting, because I had exactly the same. So when I heard about Bitcoin the first time was 2017. I think like a lot of people, colleagues, at that time I was still smoking outside with the colleagues. He was always busy with his wallet, and then it was in 2017 when you had, of course, Ripple. Everyone was talking about Ripple, and I was like, Ripple, Bitcoin, and that's how I got involved. Actually for the greedy as everyone was, looking for making some profits. And then in the time I started to educate the real system, like, okay, what is behind, and you start to read, and that's also how I came into gold. And what interested me is that nowadays when I talk to people, for them, everyone now sees around them that inflation is really a big thing. So I live in the Netherlands, and here people see it when they go to the supermarket. Everywhere in Europe we have the energy prices. I think also in Germany and Austria it's a big thing. And people understand that. But then when you go a bit further, so when you go start talk about sound money, hard assets, sound money, for them it's really like they don't understand what is causing inflation. And for me, what I noticed that people, at least, they understand that gold has a certain value, and also that it has a value due times that 1,000 years ago it was already a valuable asset. And like I said, it's just interesting. What I see around me is that gold can play the part. So I have a couple of people now that actually they fear a bit in going all in on Bitcoin, which I fully understand, because there are major steps in between a Fiat standard and going to a Bitcoin standard personally. But then you see that when people say, okay, I understand the whole concept of sound money, of hard money, hard assets. Let's just first invest something in gold, and they see that at least that stays stable, and they go a little bit into Bitcoin. And I had several people now that also see the difference. So they say, okay, gold is being stable, but actually Bitcoin is outperforming gold. They experience themselves, and that is for them a more comfortable way to say, okay, now I get it, actually, and then I come back saying, maybe it's better if I go from a 90% in gold into, I don't know, a 50-50 or 90% in Bitcoin. So
interesting. What is your allocation to Bitcoin Gold?
I have to say the gold is really small. So you talk maybe about 1 or 2%. So actually, I'm a Bitcoin maximalist. So I'm all in, so to say. And but that also took quite some years. And like I said, but if you are so far, that is what surprised me actually, that sometimes it can be, I don't know, you talk to people on a daily basis, of course, with your podcast, but it's sometimes quite lonely if you are, I mean, I'm living in a small town in let's say the Rotterdam area. There are not so many Bitcoin maximalists out here. So when I'm walking outside with the dog or going to the supermarket, but even with friends, families, a lot of times I feel like the only one. So
it is true. Like I obviously see the whole depth of the community. I had in 1 year now 350 guests on. Like it's really deep and broad, the community, but I see the people from all around the world, and not just my local area. If I just focus on my local area, I'm in Vienna, in a big city. Obviously, there are some good Bitcoin maxes here, but it's not that many. Like you really have to find them also on. You have to go to the get-togethers that are happening once a month and really go there and see what's happening. And maybe you have an Orange Pill app, or maybe you have other tools where you can connect with other Bitcoiners. But I agree with you. It's we're still very early. It's still like you're very lonely in the Bitcoin world, and I hope it gets different. I hope it changes in the next couple of years, so people can feel right now like me, because I have so many contacts in Bitcoin. Whereas like if I want to talk Bitcoin, I talk all the day about Bitcoin. So actually in the evening when I talk with my girl, when I talk with friends, I enjoy not talking about Bitcoin also. Like that's a big thing. And other people are like, they're talking the whole day not about Bitcoin, and they're in the fiat world. They really enjoy talking about Bitcoin in the other time, because they had the energy in there. So I think there's a lot of that also in there.
Yeah, and that is, like I said in the beginning, especially because people, I mean, inflation is a topic. So on the typical birthdays you have, or now with Christmas dinner, a lot of people talk about, oh yeah, it's so expensive, it's so expensive. And yeah, sometimes you want to just grab these people, say, guys, there's a solution out there, like, okay, slow down. Like everyone, they say, of course, everyone gets the price they deserve. That's of course a bit, that's not the best positive way to bring it, but everyone needs his own time. And that is, like I said, also from a personal part, that's an interesting journey. But for me, at the end of my of my journey, so to say, I really now last year, that's also when I start my own small company. In at least I feel so much the need to help people out, of course, when they're open. So I'm not like evangelist standing on the market and screaming around, but when I talk to people, I see there's a need for people, but people are really, they're also afraid. And I think that there's so much help out there, and Bitcoin can offer so much to people, and all the worries they have. So
that's super interesting. Also interesting with the allocation, because I was wondering, even gold bucks that are not into Bitcoin seem to have not a big allocation to gold. They are more like a few percent of their net worth in gold, and not like 100%. Are there like real gold maxes out there that like 100% all in Bitcoin? I know that even Peter Schiff and other gold maxes, they have only a small percentage in gold, but then they have like gold stocks and other things happening around that in their companies, of course, which was really surprising for me when I heard that.
Yeah. For me, that was also an eye opener. For me, it was never really a fight between Bitcoin and gold. I'm really positive into gold, and I understand people that like to invest in gold. But for me, when I read that and people saying like, just look at people who have their business in gold, how much gold do they really have, whether it's company wise or private. And it turns out 9 out of 10 they converted quite quickly to cash or other things. So that was also for me a big eye opener. And within all these years, talking to people, I actually met one guy who didn't have at that time, but it's now like 1.5 years ago, who had no Bitcoin allocation at the time and was fully in gold, just personally. But that don't happen a lot now.
Interesting. Yeah, it happens less and less and less. Do you see also the move towards where Bitcoin is demonetizing gold? Obviously, gold and Bitcoin both are rising because fiat is just like a really bad thing, and all assets that are harder than fiat are rising. But do you see the shift from gold being demonetized in going back to the utility value, and the value is coming to Bitcoin?
Yeah, I think with it was Michael Saylor, right, who brought that also up, saying, just as an idea for the U.S. government to sell the gold assets, or for governments in general. So sell the gold, buy Bitcoin with it, and actually demonetize your enemies, or the other countries that have the gold. I think it can go way quicker than we can imagine right now. Yeah, that's I think it's really interesting approach. And although there will be always a market for gold, but yeah, I think definitely Bitcoin will eat a part of the pie that is now belongs to gold. Yeah, and I think it will be bigger than we can imagine now. But it's just guessing, of course. And like I said, I'm not anti-gold, especially not. I like gold, and like I said, what I notice when I speak to people that I can help, gold's helped them a lot to understand the whole concept of sound money. So, but yeah, there's only one real sound money, the absolute sound money, and that is Bitcoin. That's not a discussion.
Yeah, I think gold is a big part of the Bitcoin education, because in a lot of senses, it's the precursor to Bitcoin. We had that fiat thing in between, but I think it's the precursor to Bitcoin, and I think I hope also that the history sees it like that when we look back in like 10,000 years to that area where we're like there was gold, and then there came the digital version of gold, which is Bitcoin, and that fiat kind of is just as a time in between, like a hybrid. You remember Blu-ray?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I had a Blu-ray player.
And then everyone was so excited about that thing, and it's like in the end of the day, it was like nobody used it because we went digital, not with the CDs, and Blu-rays was not that big of a thing, and that's how I see fiat currencies to a certain extent.
Actually, I like that comparison because, like I said, I had the Blu-ray player for like 2 years, and I still remember I had a DVD. It was Saving Private Ryan on Blu-ray, and I still remember that feeling. So bought it, watched the movie, but I knew the movie already, and I was like, what is the difference? It didn't make really. It was like what is what is the benefit of this? And then within no time, of course, DVD was out, and so actually now thinking about it, it's a good comparison. And we might look at it like this.
Absolutely, really interesting. Also, for the argument of holding gold, like I also hold gold, but just not because of the financial value, just because I got something from my dad, and it's a small coin. It has some emotional value to me, and has almost, I don't know, 0.0 whatever percent of my portfolio. But it has some value for me, and I only hold it for the emotional value. Besides emotional value, besides jewelry, why are you still holding on to the gold? Like what is like the argument for you to still have gold, even though I know you're like not anti-gold, but like even if, like, for example, I'm very neutral to gold, so neutral that I just don't hold it.
Okay.
The same way I'm neutral to, I don't know, oil and gas. I also don't invest in that.
You don't have a barrel of oil in the backyard or on the balcony. No, okay. Good question. Time for some reflection. No, I think for me, to be honest, it's also sort of, without getting too much emotional, but it's more for the feeling part. So I definitely don't see it as an investment. Of course, I know it will always have some value, but it's just I think it would be hard for me to that small piece that I have, and it's out there somewhere in the safe. But I think I always have it just like like a sort of a memory of my journey, and that's how I see it. I like the metal. I have to say, I read a lot about gold at the time, and just it's. I have to say, when you hold some gold, or even a silver coin, it is for me. It's something magical, especially at the time. So that is actually the only reason I have it. Not from an investor point. I'm not checking the price and take it that serious, so to say. Yeah.
I heard once that I think like it was not even a Bitcoiner. It was just like a random guy that told me this, and he's also not a gold bug, but he has gold as an emergency kit.
Yeah.
He has like an emergency kit at home, and part of that emergency kit are small coins of gold, where he says if something really bad happens, no electricity, like things really go out of hand, that he hopes that those gold coins represent some value, and then he can maybe buy something for those gold coins. In the emergency kit, a lot of other things are also involved with that, like food, weapons, and stuff like that. It also makes sense like that, but he hopes that this might be, and that was for me the best ever argument I heard for holding gold, where you have it in an emergency kit. Right now don't have it except of that one coin, and probably don't get far with that. But that seems to be for me like an reasonable argument to hold some gold at house for the monetary aspect. Obviously, gold has jewelry value. It's used in phones and stuff like that. So as you said, it will always have a value because it's like an tangible thing. But at the same time, like glass also has value, and I don't invest in glass. I mean, I have glass. Like
yeah, that's the same as then it has the same use as saying some packets of cigarettes. That's also what they advise people. I don't smoke anymore, but they say in case of an emergency, it's also like having some gold or having some cigarettes. It's like a good.
You quit smoking? Was it when you discovered Bitcoin?
In the beginning I smoked a lot more, but no, I was at some point I was at this vapor. I went to electric smoking, and I did that for a couple of years. But at some point I was fed up with it. But I can tell you, if you quit with that, it took me a few nights it was heavy. It was more heavy than quit normal smoking. Yeah, that's vaping. I wouldn't advise it to anyone.
What are those? Sorry, it's not about Bitcoin at all, but I'm just curious. What are those electronic cigarettes? I saw them and I was like, it seems like you have a pen in the mouth.
Yeah, exactly. And the problem is you can smoke everywhere. So I'm here sitting in my home office. Normally, in the past when I was smoking normal cigarettes, you would go outside, but now same as you. It's at the end of the afternoon, it's raining outside, so you're staying inside. But with this thing, you can smoke everywhere. So because there's no smell and there's no dirt.
So, does it have the same health issues than a normal cigarette?
So far so good, I would say. Some say it's less toxic. Some say it's more toxic. Bottom line is just don't do it. Yeah, don't do it. Don't do drugs. Don't do electric cigarettes. Yeah.
Don't smoke, guys. You heard it here. Don't smoke.
Yeah, save your money and buy Bitcoin. Yeah.
Absolutely. One thing that I always want to get into with people that are into gold or were into gold and also into Bitcoin, they understand kind of both sense. They're really on sound money. How do we get, because there are so many people that have a lot of money in gold. Like there are a lot of people and a lot of rich people in with a lot of money in gold. I mean, there's also central banks with a lot of gold. They are probably the biggest ones. But how do we get those gold folks to Bitcoin? What have you learned in the educational journey of them that you can share? That like, okay, if you get gold, what is missing to getting Bitcoin, to being actually orange built?
Yeah, that's good question. I think first of all, what I noticed especially in the last 2-3 years when I was really focusing on getting people off the Fiat standard, or at least helping people when they were facing problems with living on the Fiat standard, I thought there were way more people that had some gold. So that was the first thing I noticed, that actually very less people they don't have gold at all. At least the people I talk with. So I'm talk with just the normal people, the hairdresser, the plumber, sales guys. I was expecting more people to have gold. So I mean, yeah, the really rich people. I think that is also to do with age. So what I notice, and that's not only for gold but also for real estate, I think it's the same thing. If people have a certain age, and luckily not all people, but I notice that I've some older friends, and especially here in the Netherlands, also in Belgium, real estate is quite a big thing. So that is seen as it's actually the same thing as gold in the eyes. I just came to the conclusion that they are so stuck in that narrative that or gold or real estate is like the holy grail. It doesn't seem to click. So it's it's.
Do you see some, because you mentioned real estate, do you see some overlap with real estate investors also, with the gold investors, or like?
Yeah, like I said, especially because when I have a few friends and they're also a bit older and a bit more wealthier, and they are really sticking to that narrative what's also told to them, like gold is sort of the standard, and you have real estate. I recently sold my house. I mean, in total, the whole process, it takes me like half a year. So you have to prepare it, and you have to make the pictures, negotiate on the price, people visiting the house. It's so much hustle to sell a house. But for some people, it's so difficult for them. It's a complete different world, and I think it just need to. We need more. We need to have more time. I think that is
absolutely. Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
the time will educate a lot of people, and the price will lecture a lot of people. I also think.
Yeah.
What was in general, when you help people from the Fiat standard to the Bitcoin standard, what is the importance of sound money for you, and the importance of having that?
The importance for me personally, or you mean the people that I talk with?
Both is interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, for me personally, but that is like a long journey that started in 2017. Like I said, the first time I heard about the Bitcoin, and at that point I was just looking at it from a greedy perspective. But then at some point you start to think about, actually that was a few years I was just buying some Bitcoin and then start to interesting in gold. But then actually in 2020, all with COVID, I think for a lot of people they really start to think about people like what's actually going on in the world, and then at least for me, I'm close to 40 years old. I've never really seen inflation, or at least not official inflation. And when that started and people start worrying about, we saw the prices in the supermarket. We always had in the Netherlands relatively cheap gas from our own gas fields. Gas prices start to rise extreme levels. Yeah, then you really start to think about your future, and like how can I get the wealth that I have now? How can I keep it? And even that, but that is a scary part, because you have to admit that if you're living on the Fiat standard, you have no influence on that. At least that was my conclusion, and that it really depends on people around you that have the power, and if they decide to print some money, that it immediately affects your wealth, and there's nothing you can do about it. And so you have to face that reality, and then take action, of course. But that is a difficult part, and also a lonely path. Like I said, sometimes it can be quite lonely. So you have to inform yourself, but on the other hand, also to be a bit stubborn and have a vision. How can I take care of myself? And that is also what I see when I talk to people. They have a problem, but actually, so they see like, I cannot buy a house. Like for instance, my house, the housing prices in the Netherlands, it's like 12 to 15% a year. So if you have an average house in the Netherlands is now like 400,000 euros. Yeah, it means it's like 1% a month roughly. So it means that you have to save in the Fiat standard 4,000 euro, let's say $4,000 a month. Even to, and then it's only to bridge the gap between what the house was worth now and the house will be worth 1 month later. So like I said, looking at that future, you feel like, how am I going to do that? And then you have to realize, or you will realize, that within the Fiat, with just a Fiat solution, it's not possible. You can work 80 hours or 100 hours, but you never get there.
I partnered up with Coin Vigilante. This is the most beautiful Bitcoin timepiece that I ever saw created by anyone. Look at that beauty. I love it so much. Coin Vigilante made a perfect Bitcoin watch. That's the perfect, subtle, elegant way to go out there and show that you are a Bitcoiner. And that watch brand is Bitcoin only. And Coin Vigilante just dropped a completely new and amazing Genesis edition of their watch collections. You have the date of the first ever mined Bitcoin block in there, and of course also the block height and which epoch we are currently in. I love the level of detail they put in this masterpiece, and make sure to check out those amazing Coin Vigilante timepieces down in the descriptions. I love those watches so much. If you watch or listen to my podcast on a regular basis, I guess you already bought some Bitcoin. And now the most important step is to keep the Bitcoin. Keep them secure in a hardware wallet. My personal recommendation for hardware wallet is the BitBox. It's super secure. It's simple to set up. It's also a perfect gift for a friend who has still their Bitcoin on an exchange. And you can get a 5% discount with the code Robin at the checkout. Visit bitbox.swiss/Robin to get your BitBox. And the next step is to really level up your sovereignty as an individual. You have to have the most secure self-custody setup. You have to secure your own devices. You have to protect your privacy. You have to set up an inheritance plan. And depending on where you live, you even want to have a plan B, a citizenship where you can move in case something goes really wrong. And through all those steps, the Bitcoin way is guiding you through step by step. And if you visit thebitcoinway.com/partners/Robin, you even get a 30-minute free call to find out how you can level up your sovereignty.
Yeah.
That's a great point with the house. I think the Fiat standard makes people really desperate. And I recently made the calculation of, let's say you have now 0 savings and you want to get to a house in 10 years.
Yeah.
And let's say you are only in the Fiat world, like you only save in Fiat. If you now have a great job and you're working good in Austria and you're one of the top earners here, you maybe get 100K per year, but you're already earning quite good of a salary. Most people don't earn that in Austria. Let's say you earn that. 100K you have to pay taxes on, so there's only like, really you earn like 50K from that. then 50K per year. You also have to pay things from that. You have to pay your rent from that. There's maybe another 10, 20,000 that goes away from that. You have to pay food from that. So maybe a normal person can save, let's say 15, maybe 20,000 euros per year.
Yeah.
Maybe when there are two people, they can save 40,000. Maybe if they're really good, they're earning both good, they are living nicely, maybe they can save 50,000 euros per year together.
Yeah.
In 10 years, a house, what would you say is in Fiat terms a house in 10 years? 1 million, 10 million?
Yeah. In infinity, it's like one of the memes. It goes to infinity. Yeah,
Absolutely. But even if it doesn't collapse, let's say the Fiat standard is really solid and doesn't inflate a lot, and let's say a house is $1 million.
Yeah.
And you save $50,000 a year. You can make the calculations. You need a lot of years to get there to those $1 million. So that's why everyone has to do it with debt, and that just drives. And then you have debt that you have to pay off, and you are basically in a 30-year, 40-year, 20-year, whatever the loan is, jail of your country, of your bank. It's sorry for my rant here, but it's really bad.
No, but this is exactly the point. And on the other hand, I'm a positive guy, so I try to stay positive at least. So this is like a wake up moment for, let's say, the generation 2025 that wants to start a family, but it's hard. It's hard for them to realize that it's almost impossible. Like I said, I sold my house, and if I see the people that are looking, it is terrible. So at a certain point, so there was a lot of people that were coming here, and some people made an offer, but then you can write some notes as well, and with people saying, I really love the house, but I get it, everything, but then also, so it's like you feel a bit sad. You can also say it's a good sales pitch, but then it will also, if you look at the people who make the offers, it's always or a rich mom and dad, or two brothers, or two girlfriends. So it was all combination. Like when it was 10 years ago, or actually I bought this house 6-7 years ago. That was after my divorce. I was just on one salary at a normal sales job. It was sort of to my top, but at least I can sort the house. It's a simple apartment. But now it's like a no-brainer. Even let's say normal couples, so just two people starting a family. No, it was not even that. It was always there was or a father involved, or some extra money, or a combination brothers, sisters, friends. So and people said to me, so Gert, a really nice price you get when you sold the house. But to be honest, still now talking about it, I feel a bit sad. For me, it was hard to accept that the celebration from people, because I said, it sounds great, but it's actually crazy. This should worry you instead of celebrating it with me. This is not so much to celebrate from, because but for me it's good because I have a house as well. So you see, I'm also profiting. I said, but what about your kids? And so this is for me. This was also like
That's super interesting. What you say? What did you say for the house? What you bought it for, and what did you sell it for? What
it was roughly doubled. So it was roughly doubled. Yeah.
In
6 years. Yeah, 6 years. Yeah, 6
Wow.
years. And like I said, it's a small village outside Rotterdam. So we're not talking about Rotterdam city center. It's just
it was not prime real estate.
No. Although it is in the city center, but it's not a real city. So no, it's really small. It's not. It's nothing. Yeah. So
and just imagine the doubling of if you're a person that wants to save for a house, and that like you have now 0, and there's like let's say 500,000 you want to save for the house, but that thing is a moving target. In 6 years it's 1 million, then it's 2 million, then it's 4 million, then it's 8 million. That comes very quickly, very unreachable and untouchable for you.
Yeah, and this is also what I like I said, when I speak to people, will say, okay, can you help me out? I use this house as an example, so roughly just to have it easy for the numbers. So if you talk about a house of 300,000 euro or dollars nowadays, it's more or less the same. Talk about 300,000. So if you have this increase that we have now, 1% a month, so the houses increases every month with 1%, so it's 3,000 euro / dollar. Yeah, good luck. I mean that's only to catch up, and that is also how I try to make it more visible to people when they say, yeah, I might need some protection for my, we didn't catch that topic, but pension, also a topic, like, yeah, how are you going to, nice glass, by the way.
Sorry, it's
no, I love it.
I need a lot of water, and with that, it allows me to have long podcasts and don't run to the water valve.
Austria style, yeah. So, but it makes it visible and to people, and also to see that with just normal saving, they're not going together. And between you and me and the listeners, also not with saving in gold. So yeah, that's when Bitcoin comes in. Yeah, you know this. You probably know it you see it a lot of the times on X, of course, with the houses, and then having the house price in America in US dollars. And you see it, of course, from 200,000, 250 to 300. And then you also see it in the Bitcoin price. And I also use that picture, that comparison, showing that if you live on the Bitcoin standard, or at least put your savings in Bitcoin, the price of the house lowers. Yeah. So these sort of examples help. Yeah.
I can show you that priced in Bitcoin 21 is, I think, the best. By the way, we are just 104,000. There it's, for example, United States median new house. Most of my audience comes from the US, so let's take this example. That's just crazy. The average house price crashed this month in Bitcoin terms 72%, year to date 83%, and 5 years it went down 91%. And you can even click on it and you see the charts. So you can say, what is that now? Let's say 5 years, and you just see how the price develops. And that's why we say, once you adopt Bitcoin, everything gets cheaper all the time.
Exactly. Yeah. But this is really, this is a nice one. I will remember this one. Yeah, this makes it more visible, and these are the things that people really need, because, like I said, I say we because I can imagine a lot of your listeners and viewers are Bitcoiners for quite a while. At least for us, it's we're sometimes so in a bubble. But I time to time I forget to realize that for a lot of people it's a big step to start somewhere, because they're always people around them say, oh, you're going in Bitcoin, volatility, crashed it, and isn't it a bubble? I still on Dutch television, also an advice: don't smoke and don't watch television. I sometimes, that is actually, after quitting with smoking, also one of the best decisions I made in the last 3-4 years, in the Corona time, when we were bombarded by all news. I decided to remove the TV from the house. Best thing ever. But time to time, we still see the clips on X, also from Dutch shows. And they have like a guy on a sort of BBC or CNN like channel, and he's called the House Economist, and still calling it a bubble. And so it's like, people still have that in their mind. And but these back to this chart. These are the facts. Yeah,
absolutely. And just a quick thing about the TV. I am always curious when we break an interesting barrier, and we just broke the 100,000 in euros. The dollar barriers broke, I think, like already a few weeks behind. It's quite a while actually, and now we also hit the 100,000 in euros.
Yeah,
and I saw the mainstream media, so like the biggest TV channel in Austria, which is fully like you have to pay for that if you're an Austrian citizen living here.
Yeah, we have the same. Crazy.
You have to pay for that, which is really, really weird.
Yeah.
And they reported on it, just like I think a minute and 20 seconds or something like that. They reported on it, and the only thing they said is the price, and that the price went up because of Trump.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah. That is. I got that. Who said it? Yeah. Doesn't matter, of course, for you. But someone said that to me. So yeah, that is because of Trump, right? I said, okay. Hold on. Give me 1 minute to recap, and then I come back to you. Like my head is. I don't know if it's exploding or imploding. More like imploding. Yeah. This is. But this is the point, and I think that is at least for me also always to realize when talk to people. I mean, I just want to help people and get them out of this. Yeah, it's sort of a dream they've been told for years. Actually, a lie, and but yeah, the fact that is really in people's head, and yeah, and of course you know as well that how in Europe, how people are talking about Trump, so it's all negative. So that automatically brings Bitcoin in a negative sphere. Yeah, that
absolutely.
Is, yeah,
and it's just I just want to highlight that because I just realized that the house prices, almost 5 years ago.
Okay,
or like exactly 5 years ago on January 1st, we are very close now to January 1st, 2025, was 45 Bitcoin. Now we are at 4.1 Bitcoin, which is declining more than 90%, which means if you hold real estate, if you hold Bitcoin instead of real estate in the last 5 years, you outperformed 10x.
Yeah.
10x over real estate, which is just crazy to think about.
Yeah. Yeah, that is that is the facts. It's the same idea. You also have one. I can maybe send it after this recording. Maybe you could put it in. It's an overview of gold, and let's say at the start of the euro, when the euro was introduced, maybe you know it. That shows that for one. Let me see. I wrote it down. I might have it somewhere. Oh yeah, from at 99, at the start of the euro, when the euro coin was implemented in Europe, 1 euro could buy you 120 milligrams of gold. And nowadays, at this moment, to show the devaluation of the euro as a currency, it's close to 15 milligrams of gold. So that is the first step that I use. So then people also, I understand that euro is declining. But then secondly, then comes the second chart, and that is the chart that showing how many BTC is needed to buy 1 kilogram of gold. That was doing so way better than the euro. And then you also have the same sort of number. So you started with 1 kilogram of gold that you needed 8 Bitcoin in 2020. And now you only need 0.8 Bitcoin to buy 1 kilogram of gold, roughly. That was just means, I think it's even less now with the current prices.
Yeah, it's just great. I don't know what XRU use.
Yeah, and this is probably because you also have, I was talking about kilograms. More used is that is also typically European, of course, that we use. So this is probably also in troy ounces, which is more, of course, common way to talk about gold. But it's the same with the houses, and
That's the demonetization of real estate from Bitcoin, and demonetization of gold to Bitcoin. Like -94%. I think it couldn't be clearer.
No, but this is the point, and like I said, even for me, and this was also one of the. I think when I went fully all in on Bitcoin, so to say, So I started 2017. Not going to lie, I think it was 2022, maybe even beginning 2023. So, but these sort of charts also for me, at first, I couldn't believe, because it cannot be, the difference cannot be that big. And and that's also a nice thing. The more time now, so we're going into another bull cycle. So there will be more data available. So
Orange juice outperformed Bitcoin in the last 3 years.
Orange juice. Okay. Yeah.
You see that here? Bitcoin, like orange juice, went down 3% against Bitcoin in the day, 7% in the week, 11% on the month. Year to date, 40%, 1 year, 45%, 5 years, 66%. But the 3-year chart is 76%. So I guess, folks, buy orange juice, invest in orange juice.
Absolutely. I'm not going to drink that 3-year-old orange juice, but as an investment, it looks good. Yeah, but that's one of the rare ones. I think there are not so many.
Yeah. If you look at the side, so like that's the overview, and there are the fiat currencies all going to zero against Bitcoin. There's not a single time frame and not a single currency that is up in Bitcoin terms. Then there are precious metal all going to zero, not a single time frame, not a single thing. Then there's energy things, crude oil, gas, gasoline, and so on. And then there's agriculture. Agriculture is the only thing where eggs 3 years are up, orange juice 3 years is up, cacao 3 years is up. Or things that I actually really love. I like orange juice, cacao.
Yeah, that's an interesting one. At least it has the good color. So,
but those are the only 3 I can find. Everything else is red. There is Tesla has outperformed in the past 5 years Bitcoin, which is super interesting because I sold Tesla in 2021. So might have lost money on that.
Okay, don't look at it, or maybe within a few more months. Then
it's just a matter of time that it goes or go to zero. I love that website a lot. It's like priced in Bitcoin 21, mempool.space. I love those websites. I could be way too long on them.
Yeah, no, but that is and to add to that, so like I said, this is something that I used to. It's nice because it makes it really visible. Like I said, the first times I was looking at it, I also couldn't believe it. Sometimes it really, you need to take some time to digest it, and like, is it really that true? Yeah, it is that true. What was I'm going to say? Oh yeah, it's the same with this. I don't know what it's called, but it's that Excel sheet that Michael Saylor just put out, where you also can see what an investment like a 10% allocation in Bitcoin or 100% allocation, and what it will do over time. And I also love that. I love that sheet because especially when you stretch it over a longer time, it makes it so visible. What is the impact of a right allocation? Yeah.
Where do you see the future of gold price and Bitcoin price? Both infinity or?
No. Okay. Compared, of course, to fiat like euro. I'm not so positive about the euro. So yeah, you could say infinity. Although I think with gold it will stabilize, but that has to do. Of course, it will climb, but I think by far Bitcoin will outperform. So for Bitcoin, I really feel like infinity. Yeah. For gold, no, I think not, especially not at the pace that Bitcoin will go. So
interesting.
No,
the price movements of Bitcoin versus gold is, I think, the most interesting to look at actually, and the flippening. Do you have a timeline when the flippening between Bitcoin and gold will happen?
Predictions. It's tricky. Now it is, let's say it like this, it is interesting. If you would have asked me 3 years ago, I would have said, yeah, it will take way time. If you're looking at the difference in market cap, but now looking and saying, okay, Bitcoin price, maybe half the market cap of gold. Yeah, let's give it one more halving. I mean, things are going so fast. Yeah, maybe. What are the guys saying? You're not bullish enough. Now, I think this halving cycle is a bit. It would surprise me, so to say, but yeah, if you see how fast the things are going, what will happen with nation states adapting Bitcoin as a strategic reserve, then I would say the next cycle we're there. But I mean, don't call me guys when it don't happen. But yeah, no, like I said, it's going so fast. It's fascinating times. Yeah.
And just because I just have another site that I like. It's like the ranking side.
Oh yeah. I like that. Yeah, as well.
Of seeing where Bitcoin is progressing, and it's just a crazy time to be alive where Bitcoin is still smaller than companies.
Yeah.
if Bitcoin is still smaller than companies, we are early. We are very early.
Yeah.
If Bitcoin is still smaller than individual companies. So next is Alphabet, then Amazon, Nvidia, Microsoft. I'm really looking forward to that one because Microsoft just decided not to buy Bitcoin.
Yeah, that was last week, huh? It was, yeah.
Absolutely, and they will wake up once Bitcoin crosses them. I think hopefully they wake up. But I mean, I actually hope that the big institutions don't wake up and the plebs wake up before them. But that's another story for another day.
yeah, that is that will be an interesting story. But yeah, I hope to. Yeah, that would be nice. Yeah, this is an interesting one, and especially when I'm looking at this one, I'm also, but that's another subject. That is the MSDR. That is for me, if you see what how that is getting up and up. That
and we basically have a 9x to go to gold, a little bit less, 8 point something x to gold. It's not that much. It's
although
we get there.
I have to say that gold made a nice jump over 2024. So they also increased their market cap. So of course in fiat terms. So that also they will also climb. But the fastest horse in the race is Bitcoin.
I remember actually when I first looked into Bitcoin and gold, I think the gold market cap was like 10 trillion or maybe even under 10 trillion. Now we're approaching the 20 trillion. It's crazy for me.
Yeah, it goes. But yeah, of course, it makes sense if you compare it to a fiat standard and to fiat. Yeah, I mean.
Absolutely perfect.
Yeah.
We are flying with the time already soon at one hour.
Okay.
One question that I have for each and every one of my guests is: what can we learn from you besides Bitcoin?
What can you learn from me? I would say you're not alone. Maybe I don't know. Of course, the audience that listen to your podcast. But yeah, that is I can at least imagine that some people feel it sometimes that way. So when you feel some frustration, okay, let's keep it to myself. What I have learned for myself is that you have to take the time when you talk to people, when you're really enthusiastic about something, so like Bitcoin and everything that comes with it. Try sometimes to take a step back and look at people that are really stuck in the fiat world and give them some time. Because I remember that when it clicked, it was really difficult and frustrating at the time that people are saying like, I don't care. I have stocks. They do 20%. I'm fine. And like I said, my head was imploding. And so I really, because I was willing to help these people, but they didn't even know they had a problem. So why would they ask for help? And that is what I learned and tell other people, like, take a step back and Yeah.
That's probably a really good
don't judge people. That is also something that, and of course sometimes it's a joke, but then, hey, you know the phrase like, yeah, everyone deserves to get the price they deserve. Yeah, of course it is like that, but stay humble, and yeah, that's at least what I am trying to do.
Yeah. Stay humble and stack sats, folks.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Yeah. That's the best advice.
That's the best advice. Perfect. We have an end routine in the podcast where the previous guest is asking a question for the next guest without knowing who the next guest is. He got to know you in the last episode. That was a fun incident. Everyone that watched the last episode knows about it. Perfect. Then we have the end routine. And the previous guest asked a question for you. When nation states are coming into Bitcoin and really coming into Bitcoin really fast, what happens to the business models of exchanges and as all the Bitcoin might be sold out?
Yeah, thanks for the question. Yeah, there will always. I was listening to another Dutch podcast, and they were talking about that phenomenon as well, saying like, yeah, what if there's no Bitcoin available at the exchanges? Yeah, I think that there will always be Bitcoin available, but yeah, at what price? It will definitely surge the price, but. Yeah, maybe I'm not too deep into that, but I don't foresee in the near future any exchanges really running out of Bitcoin. But yeah, it will have a huge impact on prices. Yeah, that is
absolutely
for
really
sure. So if that is answering the question, maybe not the answer he was hoping for, but I would say yeah, I don't worry too much about it. I just looking forward to for nation states to adopt
there
Bitcoin.
will always be a seller in the market.
Yeah.
Maybe there are no exchanges because there's nothing to exchange it with other than product and services, but there's always a buyer and a seller in the market. At some point, if you give me enough money, I might do it also.
Yeah.
It's always like a buyer and a seller for each and every item that is in the economy. So that's I think the really good answer there. Really cool. Thank you so much, Gert, for being on the show. Before I let you go, where can people find you, ask you questions, and reach out to you?
You can find me on LinkedIn, just under my own name. I think that's the most easy. The company, the start, so the advice that the people gave, but it's more focused on Dutch and Belgian market. It's called Sound Money Experts. It's also on LinkedIn. I have a website. Maybe you could put it in the show notes. Yeah, and that's. I think that's if people want to have some more information or just stay in contact with me. It's always nice to talk with people about Bitcoin. So feel free to reach out to me. My email address is there as well. So I think that's the easiest way for people. Yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for joining us today, Gert. Also, thank you so much for everyone that is watching and listening for joining us today. As always, I'll be back tomorrow with another episode. Bye-bye.